Today I'm going to show you the portfolio of lifestyle and fine art photographer Gina Chalik from Los Angeles to give you an example of how I lay out and curate photography portfolios for my client. For those of you who don't already know me, my name is Monashi from monashi.org. I curate portfolios and mentor photographers who are tired of taking any old photo job and are ready to dive into being creative commercial photographers known for their unique style and niche. I'm going to dive right in to showing you Gina's portfolio, and while it's going through, I'll explain some of the process and materials used. The printing is done by Adorama Pix, and her name is debossed on the front cover. It is a dark gray linen cover, and the pages are the luster, which is the basic option, but it works really well for her work and turned out beautifully. Adorama Pix is a really great option if you want to do multiple copies of a book. Say you want to provide a few copies to your rep, or if you want to send out a few copies at a time. It is definitely on the basic side of things. So if you want more attention to detail, then you're definitely going to want to go down the custom route, and this would not be considered custom. When Gina came to me, she had a wedding portfolio, which she was not feeling that connected to. Her passion was her fine artwork, and she had a strong fine art portfolio and had several gallery showings in Los Angeles. She didn't see a place for herself in commercial photography, and but I was somewhat familiar with her work already, and I beg to differ. Not only did I know she had work that was commercially viable because I'd seen it myself before, just not in portfolio context, but I also knew that her creative and artistic work would set her apart and lend itself to the commercial world very well. She sent me her fine art work and lifestyle work that had been sitting in the archives, and I pieced together a story of her creative style, and I wove the overarching feeling of breath and the elements that surfaced as a recurring theme in her work. And by elements, I mean earth, air, fire, and water. With a commercial portfolio, it is not as simple as stuffing in all the best shots. The flow and image choice should be intentional and all come back to the overall brand messaging that you want to send. Many wonderful images were left behind, but leaving work out is just as important as adding work in. It can be really, really hard for a photographer to part with work that they're attached to, or if it's something they're very proud of. And I really get that. I always have conversations with my clients and explain the reasoning behind what my thought process is. And then if it's really important to them, we'll talk about a way to incorporate it, and usually they'll see that it just doesn't fit. But you know, if it's really important to them, then we'll figure out a way. So with Gina's work, I also spent a lot of time working on the layout because so much of her work is about space and empty space, and carrying that over into using the empty space in the pages. So there's a lot of single page layout. There's a lot of full bleed because it's so vast and big with usually something small going on. And working with the elements back and forth with nature and human presence. And then, you know, playing with crops with the empty space just to draw out the images even more. It's really apparent what Gina's strengths are and her connection to the earth and the environment, like the environment that she's in. And a lot of what dictated the transitions and story and progression of the portfolio was that feeling of moving from element to element. She works a lot with light, so that was also something, you know, playing off of the different feelings of the light going on in nature and with human as well. I absolutely loved working on Gina's print portfolio and her website, which I'll be sharing at another time. And I love seeing results like this, really tangible results as a result of our work together. But one of the biggest things is that Gina felt seen and understood as an artist and a photographer, and that feels so good to have been a part of that process. I hope you found it useful to watch the progress of Gina's portfolio. To find out more about Gina and her work, go to GinaChalikPhotography.com. monishiphotography.com. If you are struggling with building your own portfolio and you don't know where to start, go ahead and download my free portfolio building checklist, which you can find in the notes below or on my blog post. I have lots of resources on my website, monishi.org, and more videos like this coming your way. So please stay tuned, subscribe, and go to my services page if you want to find out more about working with me. I look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.